Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered! Today it's going to be a match between Snow and Last. From either 2019 or 2020, this replay was supplied to me by RJB. Go ahead and check them out. RJB TV, just search that on YouTube. You'll find StarCraft casts by a very knowledgeable person and a very passionate person. Alright, so bottom right hand corner here we have the purple Protoss player. It is Snow. And in the bottom left, it is the brown Terran player, Last, under his Smurf name, Johnny Macaron. For some reason, Best is watching this. Flash is here watching. Rain is here too. Lucifer Mornings. God, I'm trying to remember who that was. The Smurf list isn't updated to include Lucifer Morning, but I swear I just cast a game with that name. It's somebody that I know, but I can't remember who. Anyway, if you remember, let me know, just for curiosity's sake. Now, this map, I don't remember what it's called, but somebody can tell me that as well. I know, it looks like a giant swastika. It is technically a swastika, but it's left-facing, and not the right-facing variety that the Nazis used, okay? So yes, this is the swastika that has existed for centuries and millennia. The Nazis used the one that faced right, so we'll just get that out of our systems, okay? Okay. Anyway, weird map. I didn't want to go through all the maps looking for which one it is, so if you know, let me know and I'll update the title, and I will thank you very much. So a very, very high-level PvT here. Snow is an excellent, highly ranked and elite Protoss player, and in the bottom left we have an excellent Terran player who is also highly ranked. Maybe the best Terran player in the world right now. So 300 APM, and for some reason Rain here has 89 APM. I don't know why. I don't know what he's doing, but anyway. Hey, it's a Kakaru. Hey, Kakaru. Oh, disappeared into the fog of war. Anywho. So, yeah, it's a PvT. Like, we know what we're going to get here, right? It's going to be a factory opening as soon as terribly possible for Last. On the other side, we're going to make a bunch of Dragoons and Zealots. Get some pressure in, probably, depending on how fast the expansion is here from Last. Sometimes, if it's a one-base opener, you can't really pressure up a ramp with your Dragoons. But if there's a quick expansion and a bunker, you can show up and do some damage. On the other side, it's a recipe. We talk about this every time, I feel like. You need to make a bunch of Dragoons. You need to out-expand your Terran opponents. You need to reduce the tank count over and over and over again. If you let the Terran sit back and just make 30 tanks, he's going to show up at your front door with 30 tanks, and you cannot stop it. The way you beat a Terran player who's meching like this, because look, a factory, is you show up and you attack them early, and yes, you're going to lose Dragoons. And yes, you're probably going to make some trades that aren't even, but you need to keep that tank count low. Because if you don't, you're going to die later. And that's why you have to out-expand your opponent. That's why you have to take 2 bases sooner than they've got their second base. You need to take 3 and 4 bases before they've taken a third. It's really hard for a Terran player to mess with your expansions if you're smart about it, and you have cannons defending against vulture attacks, right? Cannons and pylon walls and all sorts of great stuff. Don't just naked expand, because then vultures will show up and destroy your probe line. But if you're smart about it, as Snow is, he knows what he has to do here. Bunker coming in, but there's not an expansion yet, so it's going to be really hard to get any Dragoon pressure up. Like, a little bit, sure. Ooh, this Zealot decided to jump in. The micro here, pretty darn impressive, but the bunker does finish. The Marines get inside the bunker, and the Zealot is going to be an issue, unfortunately. God, it's going to be so hard. Oh, the Dragoon made a run by! Oh, I thought it would be held up at this bunker. No, not at all. Dude, Snow is like, I show up early, Falcon said, so here we are. There are no tanks to kill, but what if we kill SCVs instead and force them to fight for their own lives? That sounds like a terrible experience for those SCVs. Oh my gosh, it's only SCVs fighting a Zealot and a Dragoon. Meanwhile, there's a siege tank that's going to show up here eventually. This Dragoon can't get through. That is at least chose not to try. So here comes the tank. The tank with some good micro should be able to, well, going to finish off that Zealot, because the SCVs did most of that work. One shot from the tank finished him. And now this Dragoon with 2 kills is going to be killed by this tank, not in siege mode, so it's just a tank. Although technically it's called a siege tank. It's interesting that it's called a siege tank, but it doesn't even start with siege. You know what I mean? A little bit weird, right? So as much damage as you can, but in a one-on-one fight, yes, the tank will win, even not sieged. And now here comes the DAP pressure we were talking about, right? Now we have the pressure, but it can't be... I mean, I don't think it's going to be a whole ton, honestly, here out of snow. Like, nah. I think we're going to be... Unless there's no repairing. Oh, there's repairing. There's an SCV back there. I didn't see him for a sec. I actually had to be pulled off of the command center construction to repair. To help repair, anyway, because there's another guy there that was being blocked by the floating barracks. So, the tanks are out. No siege mode, actually. Were we going... There it is, siege mode. For a second, I could have sworn he was going for Widow Mines, but... Or Spider Mines. Whew. But, nope, siege mode now. So, yep, that's a reasonable answer to this. You can definitely also open Spider Mines. You can definitely also open Vulture Speed. Just try to mess with the Protoss that way. But here we go. Natural base already done before the Terran Command Center is done. It's third base time. I know it's early. I know it's 5 minutes. I know you've been harassing, but it's third base time unless Lass is going for some crazy push, which if you don't know how to deal with this, you don't know how to kite and deal with an advancing Terran army here at about the 5-minute mark of the game with Dragoons, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to lose a lot of games on ladder. So absolutely learn how to do this. Learn how to attack, fire, all while moving back. Stutter stepping. You're going to have a better time. So that tank sieges up. Let's see, he's trying to get shots off on these siege tanks. This, okay, there's no way this can hit anything, right? That'd be a ridiculously unbalanced position here. Okay, this, a little bit more vulnerable, and I'm okay with that firing on this mineral line a little bit. So yeah, that's exactly right. So these high ground tanks protecting this low ground tank, though, this is nasty out of last. This tank was going to join the party. Didn't really want to wander into 3 Dragoons that have high ground on him, so he's not quite sure what he wants to do with his life. Yeah, this aggression, I like it, man. Too many Terran players, even professionals, sit back and just wait for the Protoss to get 3 or 4 bases and 5 bases before they attack anything. But you know what? Last says, screw that. Let's see what damage we can get done. Let's slow down their probe economy. Let's slow down their mining at the natural base. Dude, this is huge. This is massive. Look at all this lost mining time for Snow. Snow's trying to get angles on these tanks. But the siege tank, the high ground siege tank fire is so good. Okay, 1 siege tank died, everyone. That's it. Oh, coming up the ramp. Oh my gosh. All right, another tank died. Another tank died. All right. Maybe we're doing, it's not good trades, but it's definitely trades. Ooh, that tank down was massive. That was good. All right, so Snow's doing okay. He just killed 4 or 5 siege tanks. Yes, he lost a lot of Dragoons, but as we talked about, that's what you need to do. That tank's got 7 kills and is backed into a corner and is going to die to 2 Dragoons. Because that's easily enough. All right, so look at that. Siege tank was going to join the party. No, siege tank's count set to 2. So Snow took a bad situation and turned it into a better one. He's also got a shuttle out, and I'm assuming that's a Reaver. Yeah, Reaver in production. Turret coming up, worried about those drops, which is entirely fair. Does he have any kind of turret here in the main base to defend against drops or anything at all to deal with the Reaver? I'm not convinced that he does. So I hope this is a third base just for Snow's sake. I really do. Vulture's trying to get out. No. Say the Dragoons uncontained. That is not happening. We are robots in disguise. Vulture movement coming in. Spider-Mine research. There we go. So all the things that you need. All the upgrades that are so vital to being a Terran player in the world today. Where my shuttle is at. Here it is. I see it. It doesn't have shuttle speed, obviously, because it's super slow. But it's pretty good for Reavers. It's faster than the Reavers is, and that's why these two are friends. Shuttle and Reaver. Name a more iconic duo in StarCraft Brood War, because this has been a thing since StarCraft 1, man. Reavers and Shuttles working together. Players figure that one out extremely quickly in StarCraft's history. So third Nexus coming up. Trying to get a bit of a drop here. Siege Tank's kind of covering this, though. I don't know if there's a place you want to land. Okay, so the Zealot lands in first to take the hit. Siege Tank shot. Okay, alright. Took down a Siege Tank. Again, taking down Siege Tanks is how you win PVTs. Tank count. 2. those tanks. And one of them's injured. Yeah, Snow's following it. Snow is following the blueprint. He knows more about this than I do. I'm sure if he were here and was speaking English in this cast, he could tell us all more information, but doing my best here. I think so far we're doing pretty good. Yeah, Reaver stuff happening, Citadel of a Dune coming in. Speed on those Zealots is really important against the mech. Closing distance into tanks and vultures is incredible. If you're slowly moving up to tanks, you're going to take 2 or 3 shots before you get there. If you're moving up fast, it's probably 1, and then bam, you're on top of those guys. Vultures too. So here's your wall-off technique. Like, the contain is really trying to keep the vultures out of here. Like, keep the vultures, well, in here, rather, and out of these bases. And if you can do that, great, but there's no guarantee you can. So just having a little setup here to wall off against vulture attacks if you see them coming is really nice. But I just feel like Snow's kicking butt here, taking names. His third base is up. I'd like to see him take a 4th, honestly, at this point. I know he's working on more Dragoons. He's getting a Stargate, Templar Archives. He's spending money on upgrades and all sorts of great stuff. This Observer just sees all and knows all. Oh, this control! Dude, this shuttle Reaver control is just, it's beautiful. Protoss fans, just put your hands together here for Snow. Give this a like. Game's not over, Last fans. I'm not saying Snow's got this thing won, because he doesn't. But he's doing some really good things here in the early game. And by early, I mean the first 11 minutes. This is a longer macro-style game, or a sneaky twofer, you don't know. Do ya? Barracks trying to get some high ground vision, and does. Arbiter Tribunal on Zive. Yep, we've got our tech here. Templar Archives. Stargate. Tribunal is somewhere. Where's he building that, actually? Is it right here? Oh, it's right just nestled in here. I didn't think that was a big enough spot for it, but it's not that big of a building. So look at this. Look at this delay. This attempted denial of the third base for last. It's just mean. Look at this. It's like, hey, come up here, tanks. Siege up. Get rid of this dude. Ooh, if you unsiege, though. Oh, the big... 2 HP on that tank? Never mind. Take down. The Vulture's doing some pretty good work here, too. Oh, Siege does finally take down the Hero Reaver, which delayed this forever. What an incredible play. Just overall persistent denial there from Snow. Eventually, Last overcame him because, again, Last is disgustingly good at this game, too. That's what happens, man, in these higher level games. These players know each other, and they're very capable of dealing with stuff that gets thrown at them by the other dude. So now, see, look, now we're on 3 base to 3 base. This is not as good for Snow. He has a minor worker advantage, which is fine. I'm not going to complain about having a minor worker advantage. I wish it was more, but whatever. And look, he expects there to be a 4th base, or at least he's trying to delay one and deny one, if there's one coming. I guess he could expand here, but expanding towards a Terran meching opponent always seems like a bad idea. You want them to have to go as far as possible to kill your bases, and they're slow. Siege tanks are slow, Goliaths are slow. Stasis on the way, because gosh dang it, Arbiters without stasis are just not good. Without stasis and without recall, Arbiters just aren't super useful. I mean, yes, they do force your opponent to use scans, but what else are they using energy for? It's like scans or what? Scans. Not like in StarCraft 2, where energy can be used to call down mules for additional faster income, or scans, and you have to make a choice. Nah, scans are for scans, man. They're for scouting, and they're for revealing cloaked stuff in your enemy's Arbiter cloaked army. This Kakaru. He's hanging out. Not dead. Nobody ever kills Kakarus, man. Sometimes the ground units get killed because they're in way of trying to build a base or something, but not the Kakarus, gotta say. 4th base, 4th base. Did take a second to clear out those mines, but not that much. There it is. Okay. So 4th base coming in. He's not getting enough ahead. I will always think back to the game where Light off-raced his Protoss and beat Flash in a PvT. And he was expanding so fast. He had a 6th base by this time. He had 6th, a 7th base he was working on. He had billion gates. He was just producing so quickly and just also jumping on this tank count over and over again. And it was Flash. It was Flash that he beat with this. Light's Protoss is really good. And I understand that Flash's Protoss is really good too. He's been doing some of that at ASL. Tons and tons of fun. I mean, Flash going random is like the most fun thing we've had in Brood War for some time, I think. And there we go. Okay, so yeah, expand top right here too. Excellent. And honestly, chuck one up here, man. And you're scouting it. You're scouting to see if it's safe to expand here or not. And it is. I really don't see any way for last to stop you from taking that, friend. And you're maxed out. So, look, you can't even make more stuff anyway. Just go throw down a Nexus. I know you're spending your money. I get it. You're getting upgrades. Scarab damage, actually. So he's planning on continuing with Reavers here. Sometimes you'll just go for an opening Reaver drop. Once the Reaver's dead, you're done. But no. We are definitely going for multiple Reavers here for getting that upgrade. Charon Booster coming in. EMP on the way from last. EMP is almost done, actually. Spider Mines in here. Missile turrets for recalls. Just recall prep is an important part of this play, too. And here it is. Look at this. Yeah. Snow took a minute to get started. But once he did, he's looking pretty good. Synchronized siege tank unsieging is a beautiful sight. Oh, did he cancel? Wait. Did I imagine him actually taking this? Maybe he canceled it. I don't know. All right. So remember when I talked about delaying earlier? This is extra delaying. This is harder delaying. This is where you're trying to set up Reavers on high ground to get free shots off on stuff, but the high ground vision from the science vessel? Problematic. Oh, the Vulture unload on the top right. Oh, a siege tank there too. Last, you monster. He's like, all right, I got my giant army. Remember when I was like 30 siege tanks? We're not at 30, but by golly, we're at a lot of siege tanks. That Arbor's in trouble. This base is completely... This is not happening. Last is turning it around on you guys. Come on, Snow. He needs to win some engagements here. He's going to be in an immense amount of trouble very soon. He was so good. Stasis some of the Goliaths. Sure. And that cloaky sound. Love the cloaky sound. I do. He's trying, I think he's trying to get a surround set up there to the north. And he was going to be able to, but he's just a little bit slow getting here. Okay, I mean, you can hit that gateway at that position. That's okay, I guess. It's still, I mean, you're not going to wall off against a Terran anyway, so it doesn't really matter. This is where the majority of the army is, but it's so hard to engage with this because so much of it is high ground compared to where Snow's going to be coming from, but you gotta go. At some point, you just got to go for it here. I don't know if it's enough. These Zealots ran out very quickly up north, the right side. Yes, Last lost all of his stuff on the low ground out here, except for this one Goliath who does pull back very smartly. I keep thinking this is a drop, but it's just Kakaru. It's blue, man. It's not purple. You're not colorblind. Yeah, man. I mean, Snow is doing such a good job keeping this tank count low, but, man, did those Reavers both die? Of course they did. There's like 8 siege tanks right here with +2. What else are they going to do with their lives other than toast? I mean, we're just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. That's 20. I mean, it's basically 18, 20 tanks, which is not insurmountable, but we're still making tanks back home. Not done with that. Trying to Zealot bomb a little bit, but this Vulture count is pretty high. And this is scary stuff. This is like build a new home. Wait. Is there anything in this dropship? No. Alright, so Last was distracted just like I was, and that was taken care of. But so that's a big win for Snow, that he got his 5th base up and running again. Arbiter trying to get free shots here because the Goliath count is currently nothing. So that's nice. The Arbiter doing all of 10 damage per shot. Oh, 10 plus 1, I'm sorry. He has plus 1 air. Yeah, I mean, this is no time to transition into carriers. There's not enough time for it, but man. Like we've seen it before. We've seen Protoss in this situation. Go ahead and just rebuild a new summer home, right? Far away, sack their main entirely. And then try to live to win another day. I mean, Lass has taken this base so happily. Siege tanks have +3. The Zealot bombing is actually pretty nice here. Out of snow. Man, that was like 3. Oh, if you can get spider mines to explode on the tanks too, in addition to the friendly fire splash, that is just frosting on the cake there. Alright, so Snow lost the shuttle. Zealot bombing effective to this area, but there are so many siege tanks here. Snow's down to 163 supply. He's got a good group of +2, +1/+1 Dragoons roaming around up top. Is he going to try to recall him? No, because the Arbiter is here. It's not... He doesn't even try to recall, which is fair. I don't know... Like, Terrans are good with dealing with recalls, and the last time I saw... I don't know. Last time I saw a Protoss get a really effective recall against a Terran feels like a very, very long time ago. And I mean, this is an attempt to get out of here, but look at this! Behold and despair, Protoss fans. How big this mech army is. Last is just crushing. Natural down. Main base. Super threatened. He's trying to build additional gateways out here, but isn't quite, like, he needs to recreate his tech at this point. Oh, he's like, you know what? Let's not go up the ramp. Tis a silly place. Alright, man. Snow's going to try to hold this, but this feels very 300 of him. He is outnumbered massively and outgunned massively. But high ground advantage is good advantage, as Obi-Wan would say, and he's been telling us for years. Science Vessel trying to find a spot where he's not getting smashed by cannons, but providing high ground vision. Looks like he found that spot right here. So fairly new source of it. Oh, Science Vessel down. A little bit lazy. A little bit over-exuberant, trying to scout what was up here with the Science Vessel. This setup right here is those, like, you're not getting anything out of your main. Like, if you want to reinforce what's happening up north, you're going to have to come through this gauntlet right here of a million siege tanks firing on you. This missile turret isn't finished. And an unfinished missile turret. Is this a recall? I feel like it was. It definitely was a recall. The Arbiter died, but the recall happening. And you know what? Actually going to shut down this base. Hey! First time. First time we've seen a recall actually kill a Terran base in some time on the channel. Good job. I'm not saying recalls are bad. It's just been a bad run of it on the channel, I think. So SCV is, you know, a little bit sloppily coming on in here. That's not good. The army coming back to deal with these Dragoon shenanigans. Took down barracks, which means you need another barracks to create additional factories. I don't know that Lass is in a position to have to do that right now, but... Alright, so the Protoss army does get cleared up. I wish this was less choppy. Like, dragging the minimap and scrolling it around is just like, I can only go in increments. It's not smooth. But I guess just means if there were more increments involved, it'd be smooth, right? So it's just the lower number of increments available. See, how is this like a smoother experience than clicking the mouse button and dragging it? Why? I don't know. Either way, gosh dang, was that another recall happen? Dude, Snow making a comeback here. This is a great game. Like, this is some really good stuff. This might well get an epic tag. Yeah, that's two. Those are the two new sources. Okay. Last income has just been fried. And look at this swing. It's a maxed out snow versus 140 supply last. Because this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And no, okay, this one is back, baby. This is technically back, but there's no SCVs here except for one. I don't know. I mean, yeah, last is down big time in overall supply. A lot of that is SCV count, and you do need workers to win, but last also has a pretty ginormous, terribly scary 3-2 mech army. We got our first storm of the day, and the High Templar actually didn't die. Reaver shot on a spider mine. Not exactly what he wanted to fire on there, I'm sure, but hey, clearing a spider mine is a good thing. Yes, expand again, Snow. All right, so at the very least, Snow knows what he's doing, because of course he does. And he's doing what he needs to be doing. Is it enough is always the question. EMP? Oh, wow, just recalled right on top of this army. The 4 tanks are toast, and another double recall! Snow! Did Snow just crush this with double recall tactics? I feel like he totally did. Look at this. He has enough zealots to handle the tanks. The vultures are gone. Is that your GG? It's 152 to 86 total supply. Snow coming through with the recall plays. Ah, what a boss. Vulture reinforcements do show up. Kill a High Templar. Kill a couple of the zealots. Are all the zealots gone? Probably, but there's 6 of those and 6 dragoons in production at a time because Snow has the macro and he has the income needed to do that. Holy smoke, that was amazing. Look at Last taking the center. Ho, ho, ho. As per usual, a sign of somebody who is very confident they're going to win or desperate. And it feels like Last is in that desperate seat right now because, again, he's at 81 supply, 35 SCVs. That another siege tank gone. Siege tank count is what, 2? Oh, that's okay. That is probably the most concerning aspect of this. All these tanks are here, but they're not helping. They're not helping much. Okay, so it looks like it's time for Snow to leave the nest. Okay, this base is in an immense amount of trouble, but this is enough response here, and the vultures get taken down. So he's gonna. Oh, see, the tanks had to move back to help, and that means there's fewer tanks to help, and that means that Snow can get out of his main base again, which is awesome. 180 to 76 total supply. It is more than double the supply here for Snow compared to Last. This is amazing. Dude, Snow is having such a good game, and then Last had a good game, and then Snow had a good game, and oh, remember this income that you had up here earlier? No, goodbye. I think all the SCVs might have transferred over to here, though, or down to here because of this. This is vulnerable, and Last was just like, you know, if a base has to go, it's probably going to be this one, and let's transfer the SCVs out. So holding the center. Dude, if Last holds the center and comes back and wins this, I'm going to be very impressed. He's just in such a terrible spot. EMP on that Arbiter, but the damage is already done, friends. And there's a way out, too, is the thing. This isn't an island, or this is not a one-way in, one-way out scenario. You can get out of here without dying pretty easily, actually. I guess we'll just sit here and make sure this doesn't get retaken, then, they said. Yeah, it's a maxed out Snow, man. Maxed out Snow. This base got dropped. That base got Reaver dropped. SCV count to 27. Last is at 86 supply. He's clawing his way back here. But there we go. The breakout has been accomplished. Snow breaks out of his own natural base. Although, is it enough? I don't know if this is enough. The high ground still belongs to Last. This army could maybe just wreck this. There's only 3 tanks here, and they're not really doing much of anything else. Now they move down. It's like, yeah, can you protect this and this? Not entirely convinced that you can. Oh, Okay, that was a shutdown reaver drop, if I ever saw one. All right, last, making some incremental improvements here. That's cool. I don't have any complaints. Snow doesn't like what he sees. He's not quite willing to try to put the hammer down here. Maybe if he makes this as a choke is the problem. Like, it's chokes leading into this. It makes it a little bit easier to hold. Better recall. Oh, a stasis on that group. That's really good stuff. Defensive matrix coming on in. Yeah, this base is toast with the most, and that's your good game last. Taps out in 30 minutes and 42 seconds. What? I mean, one heck of a TVP. Wouldn't you agree? Wow. That was incredible. That was an absolutely ridiculously good PVT. Thank you, RJB, again, for sending me that replay. I appreciate it. Dang. Dang, son. 30 minutes and 42 seconds. Last was a one basing Terran with not much going on there against just 1, 2, 3 bases of Protoss, and that's just not a ratio that's going to make any sense. Tank count was too low. Beautiful stasis. Prevented help from getting from the south up here too, which was just fantastic. Blocking your enemy's attack paths with our own units is just so good. And finally, +3 attack here coming up for Snow while he was at it. So there you go. That is a fantastic Protoss win against an elite Terran player who had a huge number of tanks, man. And choosing not to come up here, a mistake perhaps? That's a lot of gateways that if he lost those, I'm not sure that Snow had the wherewithal to rebuild them. I mean, he had high ground vision available. He just sets up like 15 tanks down here and slowly, I've seen it. You slowly just creep your way up until you have tanks here and then it's over, you know? But Last decided instead to pull out and take out this base, head up this way, take the center. In the meantime, he was being attacked. Snow recognizes you can't just let the Terran player slowly and incrementally march upon you over and over again and expect it to work, you know, or expect you to survive. It's going to work. You don't survive unless you're also backstabbing him and recalling and dropping and killing his SCVs. At the end of the day, it was something like 12 SCVs because all this was dead and there wasn't much happening down here either. So yeah, that was the work. That was a bunch of work is what it was. So 188,000 points for Last, 212,000 for Snow. Produced similar numbers of units. I mean, lost similar numbers. More lost for Last there, which is a problem. But he made more too, so tight. Just a really, really, really close TVP. Without question. Resources, like gas mined, about the same. More minerals for Snow. And more total spent there, which again, that's how this works for Protoss. You got to out-expand the Terran, slow him down, keep his tank count low, just be able to throw more expensive units at him until finally he's forced to tap out just over and over. So, crikey. All right, that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin today, coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.